since we've all been together. So would like to, and we have just a handful of new folks who are sitting in today. So if we could just kind of go around and say our name and what organization we're with, and maybe what our contribution has been to this working group up until now, that would be really helpful. So I'm Dawn Alexi with the Office of Sustainability, and I've been facilitating this working group from the beginning. So we made it, guys. This is the last. The last larger group meeting, and we'll be talking about what's next. But Jeff, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jeff Crawford, Program and Operations Manager for Policy and Budget in the Department of Finance. Helping out Dawn, helping out the whole DPU team. Have had a really great time, and I think my main role is to just make sure that these ideas get filtered through how the city works in terms of procurement, in terms of finance, in terms of budget, and it's been really fun to do. Thank y'all.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. How about Diane?
Diane Linderman, and I work with VHB, which is an engineering consulting firm here in the city.
Okay, thanks. And Dan?
Hi, I'm Dan Mata. I am with Plan RVA. I'm a transportation planner, and just trying to incorporate how this will be incorporated into a wider regional aspect, and just kind of doing the best I can to give input otherwise.
Great, thanks for being here. Kelly, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, yeah, so I know some of you guys, Kelly Rowan, I'm working on behalf of the Office of Equitable Transit and Mobility, working for them as a transit planning and mobility program manager. And, Dawn and I have been chatting about Richmond Connect things, electric vehicle things, so I'm glad to be looped into this group, and I'm sure we'll engage a lot of this group in Richmond Connects too, so.
Awesome, thank you for being here. I'm glad you could make it. How about Adam?
Hi, my name is Adam Lockett. I'm a graphic and experience designer with GRTC Transit System.
Great, thanks for being here. And Angela, I know that you're here.
Yes,
listening
I'm
in.
here. I'm Angela Fontaine. I am a community roundtable member. I am the layman on the team. Just serving as a voice for the community. I also work as a consultant with a small firm in Richmond, as well as I'm a professional coach. I am in bed with COVID, so I won't be sharing screen or participating much today, but it is good to see everyone because I'm quarantined and I'm very lonely. So good to see everyone.
Thank you so much for making the call, Angela. You've been instrumental all along, so I'm sorry you're not feeling well, but thanks for being here. How about Brantley?
Hello, I'm Brantley Tyndall with Bike Walk RVA, and I'm new to this process, so I'm happy to catch up and certainly looking towards active and alternate transportation elements that are included in your work. Thanks.
Thank you so much. How about Brandon?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Brandon King. I am a program operations supervisor with the City of Richmond's Office of Equitable Transit and Mobility. And I'm happy to be able to share any insights I can on micromobility and other transportation solutions.
Great, thanks. How about Trisha?
Good afternoon. I'm Trisha Robinson. I'm the planning manager with GRTC.
Great, thank you for being here. Let's see, Max?
Hey, Max Buchanan. I'm the director of Riverfront and Downtown Placemaking with Venture Richmond. And I also serve on the city's planning commission and worked a lot on the Richmond 300 plan.
Great. Barbara?
Sorry, I was actually looking for my earbuds. I'm Barbara J. Cox. I'm with Plan RVA, and my colleague Dan Mata is with me. We just finished up our regional bike ped plan for adoption in early May, and we're launching on a resiliency plan with another planning staff.
Great,
Thanks.
Thank you. Perfect. So let's see, we have some of our interns here. Marley, did you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I am a summer intern with the Office of Sustainability and a law student at Richmond. So I'm excited to be here.
Thanks, Marley. And Eric?
Yeah, hi, I'm Eric. I'm also interning with the Office of Sustainability this summer. I'm a urban and regional planning graduate student at VCU, so I'm excited to just learn as much as I can about where this process has been and where it's going while I'm here this summer. Thanks.
Thanks, Eric. And how about Jackie, our engagement guru? Looks like she might be engaging. Hi.
No, okay. I was trying to turn my camera on and then the computer got slow.
Oh,
hi guys, my name is Jackie Stevens. I am also a former urban and regional planning student at VCU, and I'm doing outreach and engagement stuff with the Office of Sustainability. So just really happy to be here and observe.
Thanks, Jackie. And Jason, did you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, sure. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I am Jason James, and I am a long-term transportation and bicycling advocate in the city of Richmond. I do a Facebook page called Bikeable Richmond, and have been involved in a number of planning and initiatives, including Richmond 300 and the Bike Pedestrian Trails Plan, that sort of thing, for quite a while.
Great. Well, thank you. We have a really nice group today. I'm glad to see the turnout. Sounds like there's a little bit of feedback. If you guys want to make sure you're muted. So let's see. Great turnout. I think what I'll go ahead and do is share my screen so we can get started. All right, so right before we started, I did send out the link to this meeting, and so these slides are interactive. If you can pull them up and you want to follow along, that's great. All the links are on this first slide, and if you have questions as we go along, feel free to type them in here. Marley is also going to be helping me to capture questions and things, so this is where we want to kind of to capture that, and you can even put it in after the meeting if you think of it as something you want to ask us or bring to our attention. So welcome again. Thanks so much. This is, excuse me, our final wrap-up meeting. I'm sorry, for this working group. We're going to be going over engagement results and next steps. For today's agenda, we're going to be going around for partner updates. Would love to hear about your equitable wins. We haven't met in a couple months, but so our office has been focusing on engagement, but I know you guys have been out there doing all kinds of work with wins for equitable climate action and resilience. So we would love to hear about that and capture that on our slides, and we'll be sharing all of the working group feedback following the last meeting. So we're going to go over the spring engagement efforts, talk about the next steps for what's happening between now and plan adoption, and then have some discussion about staying involved and how, while this is the last larger working group meeting, we will be launching smaller implementation teams, and we would love for you to stay involved if you're willing and able. So that's what we're going to be going over today. These meetings have not been going on for more than the 1 hour, so we should wrap up early. And at this time, I want to go ahead and hear from you. If I heard a couple of good news stories, but if I want to try to capture them on this slide. So if you want to come off mute and share what you or your organization has been up to in terms of wins for equitable climate action and resilience, we would love to hear about them.
I'll hop in, Tom. Last week, a number of city employees and a few folks from council went down to Charlotte, and one of the things that we looked at that we're trying to build some energy around. They have something called the Innovation Barn, which is their central repository for a circular economy. It's pretty much a space that the city had an old warehouse. They got it up to code and invited nonprofit folks to come and basically they said it's a place to fail. It's a place to push the envelope, in a place where they actually get ROI, growing local foods, plastic recycling, and it's something that, of course, I'll be sending to Dawn because it's right up her alley.
Great, love it. Good one. Who else has something to share? Go ahead. Kelly?
Sorry, took me a second. I'm also eating my lunch. Recent wins, the OETM office, the city council adopted the Path to Equity policy guide for Richmond Connects last month, which was really exciting. And there's some critical policy statements that definitely echo the same thing that RVAgreen 2050 has implemented, and actually even directly reference. This will be, in accordance with RVAgreen. So that's really exciting. And I know this isn't what you mean, but on my personal note, I've been coordinating monthly buy nothing pop-ups at our local library. So I actually work at Lexington, but you could do the same thing in Richmond. And they have been super successful, probably around 100 people coming to each one, bringing old stuff that they were going to throw away, and people exchanging it. And then whatever's left over at the end of the event, I take to our local Habitat and other free and restores. So you can do it.
Kelly, that's awesome. And our waste working group met this morning, and that's something that I know they would love to hear about. So it was a really good idea. At one of the earlier meetings, they said they'd love to hear what all the different groups are up to. So I'll be sure to share that with them. Thank you. Perfect. Anyone else? We've got a lot of awesome advocates on the phone. Dan, do you have something to share?
Yes. So a couple months ago, Plan RVA just finished up an update to our regional bicycle and pedestrian plan. The previous one was about 20 years old, so there was a lot to update. And this plan had a huge focus on climate equity and safety of our streets. So happy that has been finished and adopted, but that's also something that we'll be updating more regularly than we have before. So if you're curious, you can go to bikepedrva.org and see everything about that.
Thank you. Yeah, there's so much good stuff going on. We need to be capturing and sharing as much as possible. So we'll check that out. Anyone else?
I actually have another thing to add.
Okay.
We also got awarded a Virginia Transit Association fare free grant that is for TANF eligible individuals to help them coordinate rides to employment. And we're partnering with a local staffing agency that has a transportation arm. It's equitable because it's focusing on RHA communities, will be the communities that are served. It'll be a free service. It's 100% fare free. And it's climate focused because it's collective rides. It will be carpooling. So, they serve destinations that will be, 5, 10 people all going to the same employment location. So carpooling, van pooling. So we're excited about that and hope to continue to grow that into a bigger program.
Great. Was there someone else that came off mute at the same time that had something to share? All right, well, if you do have anything that you think of, please put them on these slides, because like I said, this is an amazing resource of folks doing all kinds of awesome things in Richmond, and we want to hear about them all. So go go ahead and feel free to type on the slides at any point, and I'll go ahead and give you kind of a rundown on the engagement from the spring. So we had almost 400 online surveys, and the paper surveys are still coming in. So that's up from last year, and felt really good about that. We've had over 2,600 views of the Conveyo document, which is a lot. And actually, I think that number, I think it's more like 400 comments and questions. And we have been compiling and responding to every one of them and incorporating, you know, suggestions. Folks have been finding, you know, edits and just little updates. So that's been really helpful. Really, you know, does feel like a community-owned plan because it's incorporated so many people. Had participated in 20 community events and presentations. So we've been out there, Jackie and David and other ambassadors. And then we got in all of the Richmond public libraries and 30 of the highest ridership bus stops across the city, got the information out there. So really felt good about the efforts that were made and the engagement front. This is where the surveys are coming, or where the responses came from. I think the areas where we were hoping to see more engagement were up a little bit from last year, but we still have work to do. So trying to get more into the, is it the 6th and the 9th districts? So I'm always looking for more ideas on those areas. And then, you know, on the survey, the questions were, how do the community priorities rank? And trying to make sure we're keeping a pulse on what's important to the community. And racial equity and environmental justice still ranks first, which just shows how important it is that we maintain and you know, champion this climate equity or equity-centered climate and resilience plan. So affordable housing is and safe and beautiful neighborhoods are up there. Again, this is what's important to our community, and we want to make sure that all of our work is furthering these priorities. So back to the feedback, full transparency has been our priority all along. And so, like I said, edit corrections and graphic improvements and some questions on clarification. How could, you know, what did this mean? Or could you summarize this? So we've been working on that. And then lots of you know, separate emails and comments are coming in where we are answering some hard questions. So on the right are some of the ones that, oh, I'm not showing you the right slides. I'm clicking on the wrong one. I'm sorry. So this is where the survey responses came from. I don't have David here to prompt me. Yeah, this is where they came from. And then this is the community priorities, but you guys have the slide deck too. So I know you can see these on your own. But these are the tough questions I was referring to. So, you know, so a lot of folks, a lot of climate advocates, it's too late already. Why can't Richmond move faster? Why aren't these all funded already? So, you know, lots of pushing and impetus to get this work going. Of course, the question about Richmond Gas Works, you know, that's a complicated, mostly revenue monetary question that I certainly can't answer, but it comes up a lot. So we do need to be making sure that we're centering these considerations in the implementation of the plan. So these are the questions we're going to be putting together on some FAQs and some others that'll go on the website as we get closer to plan adoption. We want to make sure that we are addressing the concerns, we're answering the questions, we're being fully transparent, really trying to, you know, build our advocacy all along throughout this whole process. That's been our goal, so that when we get to plan adoption, there are no surprises and we can move ahead. All right, so the path to plan adoption. This is where we are. We've finished our engagement period. It closed on the 19th. There was 2 full months of public engagement. All of those edits are being made now. Well, they were tweaked and have gone on to city leadership, and now it's going through them for revisiting the plan again and answering any of their questions. And then the final version is going to be going to the mayor and then on to city council for adoption. So that's what's next on our timeline. We are almost at the end of the circles. And I just want to revisit this shared accountability framework to remind everyone. You know, it's while our timeline has kind of been a linear process, the work is not. And so we will be continually improving all of this work. Transparency is vital to building that community buy-in and the trusting relationships, ongoing culture of improvement through using our tools and incorporating lessons learned. And then institutionalizing sustainability is a big one, and we're seeing it, you know. Kelly being here and other departments, and Jeff with finance. Our Office of Sustainability is moving over to a new portfolio tomorrow. That's going to be will be part of the community and economic development portfolio. So really incorporating all of this, you know, all the way up to the top, institutionalizing sustainability. It's you know, our office isn't just a little hub anymore. We're more of like champions, and we're a resource, but all the departments are using this work. So the regular evaluation, that's how we're accountable. You know, we can talk the talk, but we need to show that what we said we were going to do, that we're following through. So this is just an ongoing process that we will be, you know, accountable to. And so what we need are advocates. On August 17th, the final draft will be submitted for introduction to City Council. And then because it's going to be an amendment to Richmond 300, it needs to go through the Land Use, Housing, and Transportation Standing Committee. And we are teed up to be prepared for these dates. And then hopefully September 26th to City Council for approval. So that's what's ahead of us. We, again, are looking for advocates. So, you know, what can you do? You can kind of speak to this process. You all have been involved from the start, and you represent your organizations, your neighborhoods. You can speak to why this is important. You're important advocates and your organizations. So this really is kind of an all-in opportunity to advocate for the plan so that we can get going on the work. So separate from advocacy is starting to develop these implementation teams. And just to kind of remind you what those look like, in the plan on the strategy pages, there is a city steward, and that's the department that has agreed that yes, they are the appropriate city department to steward that strategy. And so they'll be building implementation teams, and those are the groups of stakeholders from other city departments, from community organizations, private sector where it makes sense to have representation, and then equity partners to address the equity gaps and make sure that we are continuing to center equity in the implementation of these strategies. So that's what we're building towards next. Like I said, this larger group, this is the last time we'll meet, but if you want to stay involved, we want to have you. You're the experts. You're the ones that know this work better than anyone at this point. And I just wanted to show you what the implementation toolkit kind of looks like. We have been capturing all of your amazing input all along. And so we have this massive workbook with all of the background information on the strategies that came into play. If you'll remember, those equitable next steps and funding and financing mechanisms, and all of the recommended implementation partners, and then all of the community feedback and suggestions from staff, and all of the all of the next level details that need to be considered were captured. And so we have our office will be sitting down with the steward to go through this toolkit and show them, this is what we have. Here are some tools you can use for a project planning worksheet, how to use the equity screening tool, how to use the climate equity index, looking at the outcomes and indicators, which ones make sense for this strategy to kind of feed into in terms of metrics. So our office, like I said, we're the champions, and we will be doing everything we can to support these teams. And then we will be responsible for tracking and reporting overall. So that's what the toolkit looks like. And at this point, I would love to hear from you. So, at the beginning, we had our group expectations and ground rules. You guys came up with a list of kind of best practices for teamwork and collaboration, being respectful, being present. We've been meeting on video meetings since from the beginning. I think we started on Zoom and then it switched over to Teams. So we had to be creative, and now we've gotten pretty comfortable with this practice. But if you had to give some advice to these implementation teams on lessons learned, what you found to be effective and valuable, just suggestions to get them, kind of collaborating effectively, what might your advice be? Again, that list, for those of you who can't necessarily see the slide, be additive, not repetitive, aim for consensus, but consider, I could live with that, be open to new ideas. If you bring a problem, bring a solution, separate the people from the problem, speak for yourself from your own lived experience, and make space for others. That's where we started. So I'd love to hear at the end of all of this what you thought was most helpful, or if you have some new ideas.
You're perfect, Don.
That list is complete. I think I've heard some good ones this week. The 4 other groups have met, and one of them suggested don't come to these planning meetings thinking that you already have the answer, and be prepared to be told that you're wrong. I think those were really good bits of advice. Anyone have any other thoughts?
I would like to, I was trying to find the chat. I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Yes.
Okay. My only thought is, and I don't really know how to say this, but in implementation, it's really easy to think about the big picture and and you think about like steps of implementation, and it kind of gets, you think about the long term and like the what ifs that kind of stops you from being able to focus on what's in front of you. So in looking at the implementation plan, there's a lot of different steps to it. So that's what and it's meant to keep your focus on the task at hand. So I think that tool is amazing, but just to kind of stay focused there and not look at the entire tool, because it might be intimidating, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think so. I do. Thank you.
I'm going to add some Bob Marley wisdom to that. And I don't know if he really wrote that, but you want a big tree, got a small axe. Chip away at it piece by piece, echoing what the last person just said.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I like that. So bit by bit, but then I think our accountability framework is going to help us move forward too, on a whole. All right, well, if you think of any others, please enter them on this slide. And let's see if I can move forward. So this one is just to kind of give you an overview of where we are, because we've been getting questions. Okay, what are we going to do first? It's time to get going on this work. Well, first we got to get it adopted. So that's the very first step. But I want to remind you that we had that prioritization matrix with all 188 strategies that were developed at the beginning. And we went through all of those criteria and ranked them. And then the roundtable weighted them. Those had elements of greenhouse gas emissions reductions potentials, resilience impacts, community priorities, community engagement priorities based on the survey from last year, feasibility, economic development opportunities, all of the elements that went into the ranking, gave them a numerical order. So we took that ranking along with the plan timeline. In the plan itself, the strategies are grouped in near and far, and most of that has to do with if there might be some kind of barriers that are preventing us from getting going on them right away, or they might have been ranked lower, and so they got pushed towards the second half of this decade. But the plan timeline, the status, if it's ongoing, then obviously that rose to the top of the list. And if there's alignment with other departments, other priorities in other departments, went ahead and moved that up to the top of the list. If there's ARPA funding that's already paying for some of this work, then it was prioritized. And again, some of them are just underway already. So when we look at all of those elements of setting priorities, the suggested projects by pathway are kind of on the right of the slide. So for energy, the energy buildings and energy pathway, municipal energy efficiency programs are underway, and that's the leading by example to reduce Richmond's energy burden. That is the biggest need when it comes to Richmond's energy footprint, is lowering the energy burden to our residents. And so the city needs to lead by example there, and then help to promote the residential energy efficiency retrofits. There are lots of opportunities out there, but we need to do a better job of promoting that. CPACE is happening, and then solar access and education is happening. And then on the community side, we have some resilience projects. There's a community benefit scorecard, compensating community members, building capacity among community leaders. That really crosses all pathways. And then resilience hubs. That work is happening. For the environment pathway, we have expanding green space and enhancing natural resources through the Parks Master Plan, the Urban Heat Island Reduction Plan, the Urban Forest Master Plan, and then a neighborhood prioritization project. On this pathway, integrating these strategies into Richmond Connects is really the first effort, I'll say, or initiative to getting this work into an actionable, to make it actionable. So part of that, this is all kind of in discussion, nothing set in stone, but we are trying to tee the work up so that when the plan's adopted, we're ready to go with an EV action plan, focusing on integrated connectivity and complete streets. And then for the waste pathway, they're focusing on consumer education, community engagement, and piloting the composting plan that'll hopefully quickly kind of expand into more than just a pilot. So that's exciting. So I just wanted to share with you kind of an overview of where we're starting when it comes to implementation. And this is not exclusive, and it's not even official. It's just a place to start the conversations. So does anyone have any questions on this? Okay, so these just to kind of say a little more about it, the next steps on this list is to be thinking about how do we prepare for the next budget season, and might there be some immediate grant opportunities that we can leverage to further this work. All right, well, I told you it would be short and sweet. So that's where we are. And the next steps, like I said, advocate for this plan. Let's get it adopted so we can officially start putting some resources behind it and prioritizing work plans and being accountable to it. And then be thinking about implementation teams. If that's something that you want to work on, shoot me an email. I would love to hear if there are specific work you want to be involved in, or if you just have some skills that you want to share, whether it's with this pathway or others. It's, like I said, it's an all hands on deck project. So thank you so much for being involved in this work. Your time commitment, your expertise, and just being part of the thought process has been invaluable. So I can't thank you enough. And with that, you'll be getting some emails from us on updates and opportunities to get involved further. But that's all I have to say. So I'll any more updates anyone thought of that you'd want to share, or questions you'd like to ask?
Dawn, this is Diana.
Hi.
Hi. Was the matrix, I thought you emailed us the updated matrix, where they had for the action plan as far as the different categories? Because I know we made some comments during the comment period, so I was just wondering where I could review that.
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
You had it on your presentation where each department had a separate, different action items that they, that would go into the plan. And we had a comment period, a while back. And I had never really seen the final one. So I think you sent us the document. I just wasn't sure.
Yeah, how about if right now it's on SharePoint, the one that's being circulated for city leadership review. And so I'll grant you access to that. You can go in and look. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Okay, thank you. All right, any other questions? And Diana, I'm sorry, I didn't see you on here. Would have said hello earlier.
Sorry. Hi.
All right, guys. Well, if you do have any questions, I'll be on this call. Stick around and I'm happy to chat. Otherwise, thanks again and enjoy the rest of your week and your summer.
Hey, Dawn, this is Max. Yes. I just want to say thanks for taking us this far and congratulate you and your team for getting a draft that's ready to go to City Council. It's a huge feat, and you had multiple working groups that you had to balance, and it's a lot of work. So thank you for what you did.
Thanks, Max. Appreciate it. All right, guys. Well, thanks again for everything. I look forward to working with you in the future.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Hey, Dawn, I have a very preliminary